Welcome back to another episode of the Skids Giggles podcast. I am Pascal, and I'm joined by my co-host Bryson. How's it going today, buddy?
Hey, Skigglers. I'm doing well, Pascal. How you doing?
Yeah, not bad. We just got done recording. What was your impression?
Well, I'm proud to announce that we have the unofficial Swiss national, all about mountain bike champion on the podcast today. And, well, it was a little bit sobering, but it was also enlightening.
Well, without giving too much away, we had Dave Spielmann on the podcast today. Dave, by all accounts, was living the dream of working in the bike industry as a guide, as an advocate, as a media person, as many different things. But unfortunately, over the last 2 years with the pandemic, his career plan was unfortunately thrown into a tailspin a little bit. But we're glad to report that he's coming out the other side, stepping back into the light and finding his passion for riding again, finding the love for the community, and now with the backing of one of the biggest companies in the industry, hopes to achieve some really, really cool things.
My bet is he will.
But before we get to our conversation with Dave, let's just briefly put out a few words about our social and where you guys can find more information about the Skids and Giggles podcast. We are currently most active on Instagram, where you can skid right into our DMs and follow along at Skids and Giggles. And you can find our website with all the relevant links and info under the URL skidsandgiggles.com. Also, if you guys like what we're doing and want to know what's up, just give us a follow on Spotify. Hit subscribe on Apple Podcasts or wherever else you listen to great podcasts.
Pascal, why do you keep telling the Skigglers to like, subscribe, 5-star rating, blah, blah, blah?
That is a very good question. And today I actually have a very good story to share. Just the other day, I got an email from one of our listeners that got recommended our podcast by the algorithms. It turns out he's coming to Switzerland and wanted to know where the good trails are. Of course, we were more than happy to help. With that out of the way, let's get back to Dave. We talk to you again after the show. All right. Well, tonight we sit down with Dave Spielmann. Dave, how's it going today?
Yeah, quite good. After a long weekend, really relaxing, nice weekend. Back into work.
All right. Bryson, how are you doing?
Really well, Pascal. How are you guys?
Really, really looking forward to this one. It's been some time in the making, and I think the timing is right today. Dave, maybe before we jump too deep into it, how did the first few days and if not weeks in your new job go?
Yeah, it was pretty interesting to be honest. It's a big change. Now I'm back in the office, back with just like one hat on, and I'm working in a team. I have a boss, a normal boss. I have more than one boss. That's completely different to to the last couple of years. No, but it feels good. Feels good. It's kind of a routine coming in and interesting projects, and we're going forward. It's cool.
All right, cool. Well, do you want to maybe let the listeners know what the new job is?
Yeah, I work for the great ass, here in Switzerland. I started working for Specialized as an event and partnership manager. I'm responsible for the events here in Switzerland, like whole Switzerland, and we are trying to building up like partnerships all over. What that we will see where the journey is going, and also the whole ambassador program and sponsorship things are also in my responsibility. It's quite interesting. It's a lot, but we will see what I can do.
Right. But before the big S, you were working with a smaller, let's say, independent or nonprofit company, the IMBA Switzerland. And when I first got word that we could get you on the show, well, to be honest, I didn't know who you were. I don't know so much about Switzerland in general, but I did a little bit of research and I found out you were with this organization. A little further down the road, I was reading some mountain bike tourism related articles because I come from Vancouver, which at one point, well, kind of still is kind of a controversial area, at least from when I remember it, about trail access and such. And from my opinion, it is very important to promote mountain bike tourism, to gain access to trails, to create infrastructure, to show people that, the world can benefit from cycling and mountain biking itself. So the article I was reading was about Swiss mountain bike project. And as soon as I realized the connection between you and this, I said, okay, let's please have him on because I need to ask him about this question. So what is the Swiss mountain bike project? And while you were at IMBA Switzerland, how did it go?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and I have to decide now how long the answer is, because the answer could fill that podcast. I worked for IMBA for 1.5 years. I started in mid 2020, right in the start of the pandemic, and the idea is really to bring mountain biking on a national level together, to bring it onto the levels of like a politician level where we really can support mountain biking, trails close to home for tourism, and yeah, just to give mountain biking a voice. At the Swiss mountain biking project, it's kind of the egg and chicken thing, because the idea was originally out of the Swiss mountain bike project that IMBA should come out of it. But then, as Swiss laws and Swiss economics work, first you need to have the community, or like the Verein, that you can have like such a project which supported by the national government, by the SECO. And then IMBA was founded, IMBA was built up, and then this project started to get alive. And the idea of the project is to have within 4 steps that you can support tourism, mountain bike tourism, and also riding close to home, trails. Step number 1 was like to have ecological or ecologically way to how I say that. Sorry, just try to find my words. That you have an environmentally correct mountain bike tourism. That was like step number 1, to build out the principles and the ideas, etc. Step number 2 was to implement a trail builder education in Switzerland. Step number 3 is that you have a good analysis of Switzerland due to mountain biking, that you really have facts and figures, because so many discussions were without real facts and figures. We have a lot of figures, but it's not really according to mountain biking. And then step number 4 was to give the hotels like criterias and quality labels for mountain biking. But this was all started in 2018-19. And the world was turning so fast in the last couple of years that some of that stuff, when we started to work on it, was already outdated. And therefore it was kind of we had to adapt it, we had to change it. And it was, to be honest, it was tough work. It was a good team on it. Especially, I want to mention here Michael Brücker. He was really the key factor that this step 1 and also step 2 now looks very good, and that's there really something which everybody out there can use. And it's a great project and it's a great idea, and it was not so easy in the last 2 years to bring that to life. But on the bottom line, it's so important, and also the work of IMBA is so important to stand up for the interests of the mountain bikers and the mountain bike communities and all kind of mountain biking segments. And we do not have to support tourism more and more and more. It's super important to have great tourism, mountain bike tourism. But where I personally see a lot of potential of good and bad sides is around the bigger cities, like around Bern, around Zurich, around St. Gallen, in Lucerne, and because there the people they want to bike in their free time, in the evening, on a short weekend run or whatever, and they cannot all come all to beautiful Graubünden or Valle or wherever the great infrastructure already is. And we really saw it in 2020, the influence of COVID, what happened out there on all the trails. And that was a boom in selling bikes, but also in people using the trails and the infrastructure. And we saw at some points in Switzerland that, okay, that could be difficult because there's too many people. It's too many people out there. And yeah, we're small country with lots of great places, but also in mountain biking, it's concentrating. Zurich is a perfect example. It's crazy how many people are riding there on not so many trails, official trails.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, we we can tell a story or two or three or 10
Yeah.
about the different issues facing the community here. But before we get into too much detail of like IMBA and trail access and tourism and all that, I wanna backtrack a little bit and maybe set the scene a little bit, and talk about how Dave Spielmann actually found the mountain bike. How did he get into all this?
Yeah, I expected this question, to be honest, and yeah, it's a good story. It's first of all, I grew up in Davos. There is great mountain riding. It's amazing, but I never was into mountain biking back then because the bikes were shit, and yeah, for us it was just a training instrument. It was more pain than everything else. It was no fun, to be honest. I didn't get into mountain biking when I was younger. It was my way to go to school and to go back from the parties. And I lost many bikes. I cannot tell you what my first bike was because I didn't care. I really, that was. But then I started work. I studied economics. I went to Zurich. Financial. I thought in the financial industry, there's my future. I was wrong. And what it brought me, financial work brought me to the Engadine uh, 10, 11 years ago. And I was up in the Engadine, and I used to play ice hockey and also ice hockey for fun. And we did a tournament like bankers against retailers and stuff like that. And we won and we celebrated like we were just won the Swiss championship. I was totally wasted, to be honest. I left my car there. Then somehow I came home, and the next day, it was a beautiful day in April. And I said, okay, let's just get my car. And I walked. It's 10K walk. And in the middle of this 10K walk, I saw a bike shop. I said, okay, now I'm back in the Engadine. I need a mountain bike. I walked into that shop. And I bought a bike. Yeah, I was a banker. It was easy, huh? No, but it was a shitty bike, by the way. It was. I do not even really remember the brand. It was a Canyon, but not the German Canyon. It was the old Swiss Canyon. I don't. Perhaps you guys remember. I bought this bike.
That was the reason why Canyon, the German Canyon, wasn't in Switzerland, was because I think one of the big retailers had the Canyon brand here for the local market.
Exactly. It was like with a little animal on it. Yeah,
terrible.
yeah. But this bike brought me back to mountain biking. But then a couple of weeks later, I stopped by the local great bike shop in Samaden, Bolliger Bike Shop. I was there in my suit, and he was looking at me. What this kind of idiot is doing now? And there I realized, okay, here's a mountain biking scene. And pretty quick, I sold this Canyon thing and I bought a Norco. And since then, I'm infected by the virus, by the good virus. And I cannot tell you that I'm biking since I'm 2 years old and stuff like that. No, it's 10, 12 years now. But this hangover really changed a lot in my life. So long story short.
That is a great story. But from that hungover purchase bike to the next bike and to today, there has been a lot in the middle. We've already heard a little bit about your work with the IMBA, but just to give the rap sheet for the listeners, there's Swiss cycling and guiding and international travel, Graubünden bike. There is a lot.
Yeah, there is a lot.
Basically, the dream the dream lifestyle for many. So maybe can you give us the beautiful, shiny, golden side of this fantastic fantasy world of being a professional fun haver?
Yeah, that's wow. That sounds great when you say it like that. That really sounds great. No, I just got infected by that virus, and then biking all over. It's just my friends told me I soaked up all the magazine, all the books, all the stories. I knew everything about it. And it's the first time in my life that I really found something which I had so much passion about it. Really, was the first time. I was like 27, 26, 27. I was really passionate. And then I started to get more into it and more into it. I did every free time, and yeah, there was one time on Pete Snyder up there, a guy can be, yeah, you seem to be a nice guy. Do you want to be a guide? And I said, why not? I never thought about that. And then I went to the meeting of the former, or that was kind of the original bike school Engadine forming meeting. And yeah, then it all comes together, and I started to build this bike school. I did the education, Swiss Cycling Guide. I was after the education was great. We have really great teachers, but after that I said, wow, that's such a good thing, but there's so much stuff which I do not like. And they told me, hey, stop complaining, just start working on it. And I said, okay, yeah, that's a good idea. Then I can change something. And then it came all together, and more and more and more. And then first I was at Credit Suisse in St. Moritz, serving the rich of the richest. And yeah, I really hated my job. I was complaining all the time. And then I started to go back to 80%. But then my boss was, by the way, a really, really good guy, amazing boss. And I'm like, it's not possible. Like, you cannot do 60%. And I was managing the bike school out of my ultra high net worth individual office, doing like some straddles with Zurich and stuff like that. And by the way, okay, you want to book a private guide? Yeah, no problem. And my boss really went crazy. And then I searched another job. I worked for Post Finance for 2 years, stuff like that, 50% in summer, like 20%, in winter 100. And then I said, yeah, I can do that for a living. And as soon as I realized that, I said, yeah, let's go for it. And I really worked my ass off with guiding, with educating, with media projects, and all that stuff. And yes, as I'm starting to go back the way, so many stories came up. Also, just why I was like supported by Shimano for like 7 years. It was by accident. I just realized, okay, now I had a job, and I said, okay, can you help these guys to they need to figure it out, how they want to do a press camp. And I said, okay, that could be a good chance. Now really do an extraordinary job, and perhaps something comes out of it. And yeah, I worked my ass off again, and it worked out. And then I worked with Shimano on an international level. I was on different continents with these guys, and it was an absolutely great relationship. And yeah, I did a lot of press camps over the last couple of years. And yeah, that's the dreamy part of it. That's the cool part of it. But
Okay.
it was always hard work.
But so if you're looking back over those, 10 years or so, where were some of the highlights? What are some of your fondest memories of that time?
I realize now I turned last week 38. I'm going close to 40 now, and I realized in my older days, no older, you know what I mean, that I'm quite a sensible guy. I don't know if it's the right expression in English. And the best moments and the most amazing times I've had with guests, when they really were achieving something, when I brought them to their boundaries, and they did something which they would never do by their own. And I know, and I can say that by heart, that's there are some people out there, they will never forget me. In a good way. And that's, to be honest, now that's really cool. That's kind of a great achievement. All the other stuff, yeah, it was cool, it was nice, but also to stay still in contact with some of them and said, hey, that was the best time of my life. Oh, that I would never do that without you, and stuff like that. To help them to have such a good time. I think there are not many of these stories, but there are a few, and I would say that's the best. That's the best part of it. That feels good to reflect that, by the way.
Absolutely. It feels great to listen to it.
And through all of this, where did you come about with the slogan or hashtag all about MTB? That's a really good one.
Oh, thank you, Bryce. Because normally people who are native English speaking, they told me, that's cheesy. And because Thomas Vanderham told me that's cheesy. Thomas Vanderham, I'm sorry, are we allowed to use swear words?
Sure.
Okay, the fucking legend, Thomas Vanderham, one of the greatest riders, the kid, told me that my hashtag is cheesy.
That's
Yeah,
an
because
achievement in and of itself.
yeah, but to be honest, I had to. That was kind of hard when he told me that. I said, Dave, to be honest, after one bottle of whiskey, your hashtag is cheesy, man. No, it's why I had no idea. I was not that good in English when I started. I just knew working English. To be honest, like trading English, I never learned it in a proper way, and I just all about MTB is what I did. It was just all about that. It was in my brain. Yeah, there was a little part for my wife and perhaps for my family and friends, but no, MTB was everywhere and over now 10 years, and that's why for me that worked, and also not many others use it, and therefore I had my tag even when Vanderham told me that.
Exactly. You should have a second hashtag that says hashtag Vanderham told me it's cheesy.
Yeah, it's that's to be honest, that was also a great week. 1 week with Thomas Vanderham through the Swiss Alps. It was the shittiest weather ever. It was so bad. It was really bad. We were in Lenzerheide the first morning, and it was like 15 centimeters of snow out there. And I wanted to show in beginning of September, and I want to show the legend my area. And it was every day was well, it was terrible, but we had a great time. And
Well, the good news is he's used to North Shore weather from Vancouver, Pacific Northwest. So he's used to the odd patch of rain, snow, surprise, terrible storms, everything.
that's
So I
true. And
guess,
also, there were three guys from Scotland with me and Thomas, and you can imagine we had lots of fun with whiskey. And I tell you, the Scottish guys were not the ones who drinking the most whiskey.
you mentioned earlier we've had obviously the shiny side of the medal, the dream of everything. You've left the world behind. You've, left the IMBA, you've left your guiding behind, but it has stayed is the mountain bike and cycling and giving back to the community, the way I see it from where I sit. And but what has changed? What has brought you here? So what are the darker side of that medal, maybe?
That's a good question. And to be honest, I do not know if it all would change that much if we didn't experience the past 2 years. Past 2 years were really hard. My whole business model, sorry to say it, like was fucked up. 2020 was almost zero. I focused on this international mountain biking, international press, media stuff, and we couldn't travel. We had no idea, and yeah, I, was a daddy of not even a 1 year old girl, and I had also my ideas how life should work, and there it changed a lot. But it also started before because from beginning of May until end of October, I worked more or less nonstop. Nonstop. There were times which I was doing at 2 o'clock in the night, preparing the shooting from the next day. I was every day out there. I was yeah, I was also sometimes injured in autumn. I was like November, December. Normally, I was totally fucked up. I was really, I was, it, I was really, I was, I didn't, I was limitless, and because I thought, okay, that's my passion, that's my thing. Oh, that's great. Let's do, yeah, say yes, yes, yes. Let's do it. I can do that. Yeah, no problem. Oh, let's do another guiding, like 7 days in a row. Oh yeah, okay, do a photo shooting. Yeah, it's a great opportunity. Oh, let's do it, because I had to earn like a whole year in these months. And yeah, this it worked. It, it worked at some point, but the price I had to pay was too high. No really weekends, biking weekends with my friends anymore. No time for my friends also outside of biking. I found some great friends within mountain biking, really amazing people, but I didn't have time with these guys. The best time was like, I think 2017 and 18. We went to Portugal in December. That was the best week over the whole year in perspective of mountain biking. And I had no time. I was, yeah, and you can imagine guiding normally is not the way you ride by your own or with your friends. Photo shooting, definitely not. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
I can ride one corner 50 times in a row perfectly, but that's not mountain biking to me. And yeah, I kind of lost the joy. It was too much. It was yeah, yeah, people do know me a little bit longer. They always said, yeah, it's normal what you're doing. You're going extreme. You're not finding the balance. And yeah, it's kind of true. And then COVID came, fatherhood. Yeah, and I really lost the joy, definitely. Then I said, okay, I need to train. I need to be fit. I need to be in good shape. Season is coming back. Clients are coming back. Yeah. And then last year it was first trip, first media camp. I was done. I was physically and mentally done,
Yeah.
and that really made me think I need to change something.
Okay. No, I mean I can totally see that, right? So I mean, of course, this last 2 years has been tremendous pressure on, let's say, independent small businesses that are dependent on travel and people coming here, um, international connections, be it for projects, be it for product launches, be it for guiding, whatever, right? So, and that obviously threw a whole curveball at that entire industry, and I can totally see in your situation how can it create some very unpleasant pressure points that no one really wants or could foresee at the time, right?
And and the biggest point out of it was I tasted a different life. I tasted a life which you have time for your family, time for your friends, time spending at home, quality time. I had no idea that this part exists, and that sounds a bit stupid to perhaps to you, to our audience. But I was doing an amazing job, but I was running all the time. I realized that after moving the apartment, moved to another apartment, I realized after 7, 8 months, oh, I didn't spend 1 minute on the sofa. That's kind of stupid. And yeah, you know what I mean. And therefore, I also, yeah, I do not want to be away that much. And that was perhaps if we didn't have this impact of this pandemic, I would never taste this feeling, and therefore I would say, oh no, it's normal, let's go on, no problem, it's fun, it's good. But I tasted a different life, and that really made me think what I want and what I do not want.
Absolutely, and I mean, and, I guess we're sitting in a similar boat, but we're sitting on different sides, right? So because obviously I still work in the finance industry. In the last 2 years, we've seen exactly what you describe, right? So we don't need to be sitting in the office like from 7 in the morning until 8 at night. We can also work from home. We
Yeah,
can take an hour out of a day and to have lunch with our kids or whatever, right? So I can see all of that, and That's very true for a lot of people, I think.
Yeah, I can imagine.
What I can also feel literally through the microphone and my headphones right now is that energy that comes through from you, and I cannot imagine you sitting still and just waiting for things to happen. So my big question now, with the big S specialized behind you, what does Dave Spielmann want to achieve? Where does he want to go?
Ooh, that's a good question, and I think that energy you talk about, it's thank you very much. That's I take it as a compliment. This energy is coming up when I'm talking about things which I really love and like, because over the last couple months I didn't always had that energy. And yeah, but what I want to do with that energy with Specialized, that's a very good question, because my idea or my goal is also to have a bit more balanced life, to have to come back to fun with my bike, to work for a company which is really innovative and doing some great, they really have some great products. And what drives me there is we are building up a new team to work on the Swiss market. And it's kind of being of working in a startup in an internationally big company. And I cannot say I want to achieve this and that, because I try to see it more as a stage. I'm now in that stage of working, and I just try to do a good job, try to that people have a good access to mountain biking, to great product, to fun, and also to bring also perhaps the big S a bit closer to the community. That's for sure a goal. That we're not all like big S's up there, and also in Switzerland. No, it's you also can buy a bike for your kid, a specialized bike. It doesn't need to be the S Works, which costs a lot of money, obviously. But yeah, the best bike from Scott also costs a lot of money. All the bikes cost a lot of money if you want to spend. But it's not just expensive bikes. There is much more behind. There is great technology, etc. But also to bring that passion down to also new segments. I'm really looking forward, for example, to work more on this active bikes, more urban bikes, stuff like that, because that's I will learn stuff, and it's time to learn. It's time to settle a bit, and also to accept. Okay, now I work until okay. That's hard for me to stop at Friday evening at 5 o'clock, because when there is something going on, yeah, this is really I try to learn that, to stabilize, to balance it out, and I think then I will invest more energy back again, because now I want to use my energy for my free time as well, for my family, for my friends. We just had last Friday a good night out with some friends, with my wife in Zurich, and it was great. It felt great. It really felt great.
So when we're talking now about some of the resources that Specialized can bring to the table in Switzerland, from I guess a company perspective or products, or even kind of creating like a little bit of a scene or society, let's say, of people riding bicycles, Specialized or not. Um, can there be some way that you'll work with them, kind of finds a path, or is somehow collaborative, indirectly or directly, with what you were doing previously with Swiss Mountain Bike Project, like in a general sense,
Yeah,
sort of creating more awareness, creating more infrastructure, and yeah, marketing the goodness.
yeah. It is the goal, definitely, and that's also something which I'm really looking forward to. First, we're a new team. We are kind of preparing, working like it's kind of, as I said, startup thing. We have to do now the basic work, and then we can add on. But one add-on, it's not just the add-on. It is a super important thing. Perhaps you heard about is like the soil searching project from Specialized, which is worldwide. And I think with that project, if we play it in a good way and also in a Swiss way, um, there we can have a big impact. There we can have, sorry to say that, but there we can have a bigger project, a bigger impact than we did in the project like I did before. because we really can focus on something. We have a budget which you can work on. We have people which are on board because we're just to say, okay, Specialized is on board and say, okay, we're investing XYZ money, please jump on board. And there we can move things. For example, we are also looking in direction, perhaps you heard about protect our winters, stuff like that. There is a lot going on with urban mobility there for like the carbon footprint. All, that's stuff that means something for me, and it's important for all of us. And yeah, I don't know if I can say that here on the podcast, but it feels great to work for a company or like let's call it infrastructure or structure where we have budgets. Because before I was working in the mountain bike industry, mostly I always had to discussing price. I always had to discuss, okay, do we have enough money for that? For every content project, yeah, if I would work in the car industry, yeah, I would be. When it worked so much as I did, I would be a rich boy. But in the mountain biking industry, it was just right, and I'm happy now that we have a little more volume to have an impact. And that's definitely one of my goals, to not just, I say it as I mean it, not just to greenwash stuff, also to do something with it. And obviously at the end it's still marketing. It's a marketing budget at the end of the day. Let's be honest. But our goal is to do as much good stuff with it as we can. And I think all my previous work helps me because I have an amazing network. That's really something which I'm very happy about it. And I can use that. And I know what mountain biking, and also not only mountain biking, also I learned lots about road and gravel and just two wheels. A bike is the perfect metaphor for life. And I see that's something which I really want to use in my job, because that's why I didn't quit the mountain bike industry, because that was quite easy. Call my ex-boss, which I talked about before at Credit Suisse, and I'm pretty sure I could start to work there in the next couple months. But no, not yet, or never, perhaps.
But I mean, you mentioned an interesting notion, right? So one is, in your previous life, you obviously were always working, let's say, with the hat in hand, right? So you're always asking for money. Hey, can I have a budget? Hey, can I have some sponsorship? Can I have some donations to do a project? Which is obviously a different position than if you have the backing of, let's say, Specialized or any other big uh, company that has programs like yours, because then you that discussion is already gone. You can focus on what is it that we want to achieve,
Yes.
and how do we get there in the most impactful way.
Yeah, this is something which I'm really looking forward to. And in the beginning I was joking about, but no, it's not a joke. It's we can have an impact, and I will work. I think quite hard that there is a good impact, and we need infrastructure. We need, because there's so many, and I personally think, and I hope my bosses are not unhappy about that, but I think the mountain bike industry needs to do more in regard to infrastructure, because no trails, no sales.
That's a good one.
It's not from me, but it's a good one. I didn't. I'm not the owner of that code, but it's I really like that one. And there are some companies out there that realize it. They do a good job, but we need to do more.
What kind of trails are you riding these days?
What kind of trails I'm riding? I really enjoying the trails around Kur at the moment. I like the variety of the steep stuff, switchbacks, some rowdy stuff as well. But I also really like to go. Perhaps you know it, Fürstenwald, with more mellow trails. Do not hit the brakes too much. Stuff like that. That's. But I'm looking forward to every kind of trail. What I do not need is too steep, too much on the brakes. The older I get, the more flow I liked. It's just, but to be honest, I don't know. But I'm at the moment, I feel very good on the bike. I feel very relaxed on the bike, and that's already a very good sign. It wasn't the last two. The last 2 years wasn't that much that good.
I mean, obviously, you've seen most of the fantastic exotic destinations in the world. Well, mostly Europe, I guess. But are there any blank spots left for you that you still want to go to?
That's another disadvantage of mountain bike guiding. The way I guide is you are guide a lot in the areas you know, and I brought the fascination of my area to others because there are so many white spots in that world for me. There is yeah. I think when you have the whole map on it, that everything is white. Just a few spots are marked, and that's like Europe, or like Central Europe. It's Northern Italy. I didn't came that far with the bike, to be honest. There is so many stuff which I would like to see, and I think one, if I could say outside of Europe, I would really love to see New Zealand. That's something which I would like to do, and BC. Um,
Oh, it's
that's
terrible. Don't go.
all of the people I know well. They told me if you go there, you're not coming back, and that's why I was afraid to go before. And also, I didn't have time. I had to go to New Zealand because of the winter times. But yeah, now you know it, Pascal. There's another thing in life which,
Yeah.
but I'm curious to do some stuff. But on the other hand side, I also there in Switzerland, there is a lot of white spots for me. For example, there's so many great stuff in Wallis. I don't know. I've never been on a mountain bike in Zermatt, for example. Okay, Zermatt, perhaps you can say it's not the best, but I think you have to do that at least once. Come on, yeah, especially when you have a Swiss pass and being a mountain biker. And now there is a lot of white spots, a lot.
That's is also, I think, another fantasy about the dream job of mountain bike superstar crushed.
I'm sorry, but I can tell you almost every rock from Kur to Poschiavo. That's also something. I know every turn. I can talk you through from here to there because I know everything.
Wow.
Yeah, I did that more than once.
I can imagine. I can only imagine. But you also talked a little bit about the stuff you're excited about with Specialized that is outside of mountain biking. So, kind of, I think the topic that's currently obviously very hot is e-bikes. Personally, I think it's a great opportunity for the sport. Not necessarily for mountain biking, but also, I think cargo is one thing, urban is the other. And the more I started thinking about it, actually, kids' e bikes or young teenager e bikes could also be quite an interesting niche that I've started discussing with a fellow listener, interestingly enough, the other day. So, what is your take on the direction that you're going to take with with the e bikes in particular?
I was never against e-bikes. Really never. I was always open to it. I was always also e-mountain bikes. That this is something I have to put up front, because I said, look, that brings something more to mountain biking. That brings more people on the bike. That brings more awareness. That brings more money into the game. That brings perhaps also more investment in infrastructure. And it also we saw that a lot of problems, like in communities, as we brought like the principal or whatever on the knee bike and were drove around all together, or also politicians, whatever, it really made a change. And therefore, I was seeing the good side of it much more than the potential bad sides. You just raised a lot of different topics, and me personally, I see in the future, I hope that we are not going to see a big difference between push bikes and e-bikes. This is what, not just hope. I say hope because now the new regulations with the light for the e-bikes, which up to 25 kilometers per hour, I think that's totally stupid. Because that there's a change, or like there is, okay, oh, these are e-bikes, oh, these are push bikes, we have different regulations. No, it's totally stupid. Um, you mentioned kids bike, for example, like the bikes with not that much power. That could be really something for kids, for teenagers. That could be perfect, because I'm not a fan of having kids on a really strong e-bike, because yeah, they have now a teenager or like a 10-year-old, I don't know, 30 k's or 30 kilo, and then you have a bike which is 25 kilos. Come on, then you can put him on a motorbike. That's kind of dangerous. I don't like it that way. But if you put it on a 14, 15 kilo XS, sorry to take that, Levo SL, great bike for that. Not that's really a chance. To be honest, I didn't really thought about that before, but that could be a big thing. And then the whole urban things to commute. Yeah, the more people riding bikes, the better it is for all of us. I'm sure that it's much better than everybody sitting in a car with four places and stuck in traffic. We will see where the journey is going, but it will be definitely more with e-bikes.
Oh, for sure. But you already mentioned it, kids bikes. I mean, what, of course, as a personal interest question, so to speak, what is your take on bikes for your kid? I mean, is she already riding, and are you pushing it on her?
Absolutely not. I'm not pushing it at all. Because I do not want to be one of these parents who pushing their kids into something. Yeah, to be honest, I have a little princess at home. I know every song from Frozen. We are dancing around. I'm having I don't know, Zauberstab, doing stuff.
Magic wand.
Magic wand. And she's liking doing the scooter, and the push by the
Pedal bike.
yeah, she's not into it at the moment, but she loves to ride and shotgun seat. She loves it, and she don't like to ride with mama because it's too slow. Then then my smile is up here. No, but I'm not pushing her at all, and she's young, and she will be anyway into it because I'm so passionate about. And I don't think there's no need, even if she want to do horse riding, yeah, then I go with her to horse riding. Yeah, I don't ride this damn horse, but I'm afraid of it. But no, I don't want to push her. But I'm pretty sure she's getting 3 years old now. I'm pretty sure by the way she's a teenager. I hope world is peaceful and happy place, and then she can ride a light e-bike. I'm pretty sure that will gonna happen, and that could be a very cool thing, especially for your kids in that age. Normally in Switzerland, the law is quite clear. Until 14, you're not allowed to ride an e-bike. And then you need the TOEFL exam until 16. But yeah, that will change perhaps with the lighter e-bikes.
Well, I guess the only really thing that you can try to achieve with your kids, I think, is to show them the opportunity that the bike brings as a tool to explore the world. And once they realize that, then the sky is the limit. And I think that's the only thing you can hope for.
Yeah, that would be great.
Bryson, do you have anything to wrap up?
Actually, I just want to say, Dave, thanks for being very open and honest about your feelings, your trials and tribulations. I think a lot of people can relate, especially during the effects of the pandemic has had, but also on your excellent rendition of how you fell in love with mountain biking. I think a lot of us also had that that bug, as you say, like bite you, and then you're just like got to watch every movie, got to see every magazine, got to know every bike star. What are the tricks called? What are those forks called? And yeah, I mean, I fell in just like you, so I can definitely relate. And it kind of, yeah, brought a smile to my face to like hear you give your explanation of it, because it was like, yeah, I remember those days too. That's such a good review, to like bring me back. So thank you for that.
Cool. Thank you very much. Thanks for being here, and thanks for having the opportunity to talk about all that stuff. And it's also for me, it's a great journey to talk through all these things, because some of them it's not reflected until now, or I didn't really looked back on it, and it's good to look back, and it's also good to feel that I can bring a smile, that we're talking about something we love, and it brings a smile to our face, and that's great. That's why we are in the right spot now.
All right. That's cool. Thank you for that. And with that, I think we wrap up the show with our closeout questions. You said you can't remember your first bike, so we're going to skip that and maybe ask, maybe that first mountain bike was it that Norco that got you really stoked on riding?
Norco Range, I think one of the first generation of a Norco Range 1 or 2, I don't know, remember. That was a really good one.
The Killer Bee, a 650B model.
Yeah, yes, 650B, yeah. I think, or was it 26? You see, by that I wasn't really into the whole spec stuff. Now I could tell you everything. I can tell you every screw on a bike, but back then I wasn't that sure.
All right. I'm actually very curious about your answer to our second question. So imagine you are Harry Skidini and you're a bike magician extraordinaire. You can make riding a bike more awesome for anyone by the stroke of a magic dropper post. What would you do?
Perhaps if you're sitting on a mountain bike, in that second you're sitting on a mountain bike, you forget your sorrows, and then you're relaxed and happy. I think that would be amazing.
Very good. Nice and simple. Love it.
Touche. Okay, well, we've talked a lot about your past. You've had a lot of a variety of jobs, and some which I can, relate to. But one thing we haven't come down to is the dream job. So I'm just going to put it out there. Your dream job is a skid tester. So you have to describe to me now your dream job. What are the daily tasks of your perfect skid job?
My perfect skid job. My daily task. It has to be variety. Let's say, yeah, trail testing or bike testing, and also to look which bike is doing the best skids on all the different trails. That would be kind of cool. But also, I also like to have a bit downtime as well. Perhaps riding in the morning, being a dad in the afternoon, something like that. And don't think about money and what you need to achieve and stuff like that. That would be great. That's, I think, just checking the bank account once a month and okay, it's easy. That would be good.
Life skid.
A life skid.
Yeah, live skid. Just skid around the corners, and now that would be nice.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, again, thank you so much for your time, for your openness and honesty. It was really, really cool. If our listeners have any questions and want to reach out to you, want to find out more about you, where can they find you?
Um, yeah, I think social media. I'm definitely not that active as I was, but still, like on Instagram, I try to share some stories, and also try to to my new adventure with Specialized, but also just nice places, nice things in mountain. It's very mountain bike oriented. I do not share much private stuff on there. But also, I still have my website. I have to update it a little bit, but yeah, just check in, and if I have time, I'm very happy to answer. And I hope I have a bit more time on the bike in the future, and would love to see you out there, guys, to just enjoy riding and not just teaching and thinking about all the stuff like in the beginning of the morning, where we eat, what we're gonna do, who is where I have to pay my attention on it. Just riding, just having fun out there. I'm really looking forward to that.
Awesome. Well, we put all the links in the show notes so guys can find it there. Dave, thanks again. Super cool. And I hope to see you out on the trail soon.
Thank you very much, guys. It was a pleasure to be here.
Thanks for your insight, Dave.
Thanks for listening. We really hope you enjoyed this episode. As we mentioned at the top of the show, you can find all the links and the relevant info to this episode in the show notes. Also, if you enjoyed this episode, why don't you share it with your riding buddies? It really helps us grow our show and reach more cool people like you.
That's great advice, Pascal. I really enjoyed making the episode as well. And I'm really looking forward to all the cool stuff we're going to be doing in 2022. So stay tuned, guys.